welcome everybody to what will be the presentation of the architectural designs and the outlines for the new Fremantle College. Before we begin, I would just like to acknowledge the country on which we are having the meetings today, the traditional owners of the country that we are meeting on, and pay our due respects to their people, past and present. Tonight we are going to go through the designs, the schemas. We'll have an opportunity to have a look at what the outside facade will look like and have a deeper understanding of some of the architectural design that has been put into what will be the Fremantle College opening in 2018. We do really appreciate the fact that you've made the time to come, and we would like you to feel that you can ask questions of and inquire about anything to do with the arts, the designs, the features, some of the cultural aspects, some of the transitional aspects, and we would really like to engage you in a conversation about things that you would like to ask pertaining to the college. You will understand, though, I'm sure, that some of the detail hasn't been fully elaborated on, and we may not be able to answer fully the questions that you have about the college in the future. But what we will do is answer as many questions as we can and take on notice those that the information that you ask that we're unable to answer, and find out for you and be able to address that. This is one of many opportunities for the community to engage in the process for information and to get some clarification and to answer any questions, concerns, issues that you and other community members may have around the Fremantle College. We would like to make as many public forums available to you, and we are looking at the types of communication strategies we can put in place to reach as many students, parents, teachers, community members as we can, so that everybody feels that they've got the capacity to contribute and to have some sort of ownership and sense of belonging in what will be the amalgamation of Hamilton Senior High School and South Fremantle Senior High School. We do acknowledge that at the end of 2017, both schools will close. And so there's a lot of planning, a lot of consideration, and a lot of looking at what is valuable and culturally significant to both schools that needs to be transferred and transformed into moving forward into one educational facility. We really do need an investment of Hamilton Senior High School, parents and culturally significant aspects, and South Fremantle parents and their communities and their cultural specific aspects to come together so that everybody believes and everybody buys into and owns what will be a wonderful opportunity in Fremantle College going forward. So tonight we have the architects and we have the Director of Structure and Facilities and Planning, Milan Trivanovic, with the architects that will come up, Libby and Will, and take you through a presentation and be able to answer some of the questions that you may have, but most of all to show you what a wonderful design they have come up with. Thank you. Milan, would you like to come forward?
Thank you, Sue. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity for us to showcase our new build. This has been a project that's been in the wind now for the last 12 months. We received an allocation of $30 million from the state government, and at that point in time we hired JCY Architects, a well-established firm who've been working on a number of our schools, are an award-winning architectural firm, and you'll see tonight when they go through this that it'll be an exceptional presentation, and the documentation that they have done has been excellent. Can I introduce you to JCY Libby and Will, and they'll go through the documentation with you tonight. Thank you.
Hi everybody, I'm Libby and this is obviously Will. We've both been involved in this project from day one. And before I start, I really want to, I suppose, give some context to all of you about the process that we've gone through. Obviously we're architects and we work through the brief and the planning and so forth as briefed by the Department of Education and as consulted with both schools. I've got to say that really the process has been we've been very lucky. You guys are very lucky to have two amazing schools and two amazing groups of people in terms of staff, principals, and also your parent reps that were on the committee. The amount of time, dedication, and just the dialogue going through this whole process was really amazing. And we also had the privilege to work with a number of kids from both schools as well, which we're going to be meeting with again to talk about some various aspects of the building. So I think it's really important to have said that, because this isn't just a set of architects going out and designing a building. This has been, every 2 weeks, in fact every week, 10, 15 people around a room and just talking through everything, from the facilities through to the community expectations and parents and students. So I'll just start with the first one. Does this come up again, the image, or not? Okay, so this image won't come up again, but really what this image is portraying, and it's evolved a little bit since then in that this was done at the end of what we call design development, and at the end of documentation we've completed the designs specific of various elements and so forth. But you'll recognise it when it's built, it's still the same thing. So really there were some very fundamental things right from the beginning. One of them, which has been touched on already, is the real want, and very genuine want, to create a school which actually embodies, in its overall context, but also in its details, which obviously will be developed over the next 2 years in terms of what's brought over from both schools, to tell those histories and actually really building the memory of what is 50 years of two communities and all the rest of it. And then also, that was the first thing. The second thing, which was very important, there was a lot of discussion about siting in the beginning, where the buildings should be and whether there are a number of buildings and whatever. So what we've done, we made a decision that was based on a number of things. One of them to retain pretty much every tree in the front of the campus, and in fact throughout the campus. The second thing was the ability to continue both the school functions and other functions which happen on weekends and so forth, whether it's the markets or other gatherings and so forth, through the lawned area at the front. And also have the ability for those functions to continue in a slightly modified form, which the school's been consulting with the market holders anyway, even during construction. So what we wanted to do was minimise the disruption for the community, but most of all minimise the disruption for the kids that actually have 2 years of study to go through at this school while construction's taking place. We wanted to absolutely make sure that they have the best opportunity to finish their schooling or their schooling during that time by not having builders, trampling all over them. So for that reason, or for those reasons, we decided that we would amalgamate the brief, which was in different components, all barring a couple of the updating and the refurbishment of some buildings, which we'll talk about shortly, into one major building that actually sits to the east of the campus, on the front, so you can see it here. This view is sort of taken, if you can imagine the front path that goes straight to administration at the moment. So this view is taken as if you're standing on that path, and if you turn sort of to face you guys, or slightly around, you then walk into administration. So you can see the building is set back, all the trees are maintained, and we've still got that lawn coming through, and the lawn on the other side is all maintained. So this is the sort of overall view. So what we might do is just quickly start working. I can sort of talk you through a little bit of how the building's been planned, and the various aspects. So, okay, righto. So you can see the existing school is pretty much all those orange buildings that Will's pointing out, and also up to the top. So the orange colouring that you can see there are all the buildings that are also being modified, refurbished, changed use, all the rest of it as part of our contract. You're probably aware that in the last 12 months or so there's been recarpeting, repainting and all sorts of things going on in the school in other areas as well. So Will can go through all of that element. And so you can see at the top there in grey is the whole program for the new building, which is a significant amount of space. It's over 2 levels and includes performing arts, it includes 2 learning communities, science, and a whole lot of other areas which I'll show you in a minute. And also gives this new presence. So it's a civic presence that actually complements the existing buildings by its materiality and so forth, and also in terms of its height, because we have a change of level as you go up past some of the buildings. Even though this is 2-storey, it actually doesn't sit very much higher than the science buildings beyond. And what it does is gives this new address, but keeps an integral part of the front of the building in place. The other thing that's part of this, which has been very important, is upgrading all the car parking and including additional parking which happens at the back. But the idea has been to obviously need to increase the parking, but also make it a hell of a lot safer than what it is at the moment. So the entire parking area and everything out the front is being remodelled, and it's been re-engineered by our traffic engineers to make sure that drop-off, pick-up, parking and everything is much safer than it was before. So that's the fundamental of the master plan. You can see this great big sort of thin coloured patch that runs through at the back. It's an area we weren't allowed to build on top of or straddle over, which was fine by us because we didn't want to go near the trees anyway. And what that is, it's actually a big easement that runs along there and it needs to be clear all the way through. So that sort of gives you a bit of a sense. One of the things we'll show you, and we will talk about it, is that we're also doubling the size of the administration building here, because obviously it's going to be double the size in terms of staff. That's an area that wasn't briefed initially, but through sort of design work and working through the school and really, you know, trying to be as clever as we could, we've managed to put that in the same budget that was allocated for the school overall. So look, these are very early images that we sort of took to the PCG group, and really it was all about, you know, in the creation of the places we're making. We're doing more than a building, you know, more than a building in terms of the building itself. We're designing places for people that are both inside and outside. And also in terms of the existing courtyards in the school, relationships to the existing buildings, in their new use as well. We, with our landscape architects, have gone in and within the budget tried to really do a change management thing in terms of all of those spaces. So we're tidying things up, we're adding some stuff in, we're creating places for kids to sit, we're fixing up you know, the existing seats and all of those sorts of things. And the whole idea is that it was really important to us and to the schools that what was being completed at the end of this project was not just a new building, it was actually a sort of a refreshed and rejuvenated, you know, just a place, a whole school that really has been rebadged and changed and freshened up. And that will include things like signage and all those sorts of things, which we'll be doing in the next few months as well. Again, the other thing that we sort of looked at, and you can sort of start seeing the memory of some of these things in some of the patterns of our panels, we wanted to create a place that did 2 things. One of them had a connection back to the buildings here, but very importantly actually had a connection to Hamilton Hill as well. And one of the things that, you know, I actually went to Churchland Senior High School, which was exactly the same plan as Hamilton Hill, so when I turned up there I thought, oh God, where am I? You know, it's the same thing. But I loved my schooling there, and some of the things that I always remember from Churchlands, which are the same as Hamilton Hill, is some of that red colouring of the brick. I don't think these days breeze blocks are done anywhere near as well as they used to be, but different types of breeze blocks and so forth. So what we wanted to do was really bring these elements in as very simple modernist elements. And one of the things with both schools is, while they are of their time, they were actually really good examples of architecture at those times in that style. And things like, this particular school here, and also Hamilton Hill, the attention to detail, to verandas, and, all those sorts of things are really quite important elements to remember, and courtyards and so forth. The other thing, which is just a sideline, but we really wanted to include it, is that when we've, on the eastern side of the building where we're up against the trees, what we've created is a great amount of glass, so you can look straight out into the trees, whether you're on the ground level or above. But also on the top level, we're using a series of mirrored aluminium panels, which actually will reflect the trees when you're there. So you're actually going to be sitting, you'll be sitting on the lawn. We've got actually seats and so forth that are running through there. But you'll be sitting there and you'll actually have this greater expanse of forest than you have just without it. So there's this element of actually almost, it's not hiding the building, we're not trying to do that, but actually to open the horizon. So this building that's sitting there is actually giving so much more back to the whole environment. Okie dokie, so what I'll do here just very quickly, so this is the ground level. You can see, and you would have noticed in the perspective at the beginning, what we've done is we've created this very extensive undercover area that runs through the middle. The building actually extends across the top, which you'll see in a minute on the top level, and actually connects as an L. But on the ground level, we have that place is actually opened. You can actually lock it off at night. There's these amazing gates that are going to be in place. At the front, we have the Performing Arts Centre, which has the entrance foyer off there. I don't know that any of you have really been to Baldivis, but the theatre that we did there, we've done a similar thing here, is that we create really large, almost two-storey doors that can be opened up completely, and you can perform out from theatre as well, and make presentations and so forth. And that works incredibly well over there and gives a real flexibility to the ability to actually have sort of larger groups if you need to, but also the flexibility of different ways of performing. In addition, and you'll see when we go to the next plan as well, we've actually created a balcony that runs all the way around across the top there, and there's the potential to actually, in that whole undercover area, set up a stage and actually have a whole performance in that area with people sitting on the balcony as well, so it's almost like a little New Fortune theatre. So the thing with the building is in the end, we don't know how it'll be used by everybody in the future, but what we want to do is really give the ability for the imagination of, the kids and the staff and parents of the future to be able to use it in different ways. And one of the things that will be great once it's finished as well is actually walk around and tell people about it. Because even though we've drawn this and, our groups have all been around, we all know it, one of the very important things about finishing off a building when we hand over keys is actually walk around and say, look, this is what we intended, because it's, 2 years is a long time, and it's not necessarily going to be all the same people that are in the same place in any project, So anyway, we've got the theatre at the front. We then have just behind it a student services and medical centre. One of the things that will probably happen with this addition through here is that we'll probably have a focus maybe more on the senior school, but it's actually flexible and can be used. It's designed so it can be used by any groups as such. But basically there's a refurbished and new student services centre we're creating in the existing buildings, which we will show you. and this is the second one, so we've got it in two areas. The other thing that's important about this one is you can see we've got the road coming at the back, so the last set of car bays, the only vehicles that can go past that last set of car bays is either vehicles to serve the theatre, so to bring in flats and all the rest of it, or go into that area through there, which is ambulance, and so someone can actually be picked up directly from the medical centre rather than being carted through a school and so forth. Right at the back we have an area for the Following the Dream program. Now, people that are at Hamilton Hill will know all about that, and I suspect others will as well, to be honest, but actually the Following the Dream program is an incredibly successful program that's been run at Hamilton Hill for many years now, and it's actually focused on providing support to really create excellence and support for Aboriginal students within the community. So it's a great thing that it's actually going to come here as well, and it's really a very important part of supporting the Aboriginal students of the community. They, plus non-Aboriginal kids from both schools, have been working with us on a number of things that will actually be developed as the school matures as well, and they've been fantastic. So we've got good kids, I'm sort of feel anyway. Now the bottom part through there, we have a learning community. So the important focus on this community, it's not important, there's a lot of, so basically general purpose classrooms, there's the ability for flexibility, so all of the classes can actually open up to each other, but they can close down, so they're just run as individual classrooms. But there we've also got a number of, education support classrooms, and also facilities for kids with autism, so there's a class down there that actually has the ability to have them retreat. We've located all of those support classrooms facing out onto the lawn and onto the trees, so it's actually a quiet place, but they are integrally connected with the rest of the community. So there's something about that'll be lovely. One of the things we do as general practice at JCY is in allocations from the education department, we get allocations for circulation space, and then there's informal learning areas and so forth. Wherever possible, we avoid corridors, and what we like to do is actually amalgamate all of those sorts of spaces so that we're actually creating places within classroom environments as well. So you can see through there, it's not actually drawn on there, but we've got all sorts of different forms of informal seating that run through that whole area. So work that's being done in the classroom can actually go out if kids are doing group work and so forth. You're not stuck in the classroom. It's actually the ability to actually move out, and that's really up to the teachers and the students. So that's the sort of the ground element, and one of the important things with that central area is that it can open up completely, so it's undercover, but you can walk right through it during school days. So that area at the back now, which is so beautiful with all the trees and everything, will actually become a really important garden for students here. It'll be just lawn and the trees, and we're going to put seating in various areas, but it's actually this beautiful passive space that obviously needs to have surveillance, but it's integral now to how it works. So go to the next one. So this is the top level, and you can see that the dark bit through there is all of that area is double-storey volume, because obviously we've got the greater heights for the theatre and the foyer and the flats. We've also got some plant room up there, so we're providing air conditioning to all that space. And then at the top, the green area, so all of those, they're all classrooms, general learning areas as well, with the staff study area in the back. And the front of all of that area is what I was talking about before, where we amalgamate circulation area with the briefed informal learning areas, which means that basically there's a variety of different types of seating, tables and so forth through that front bit, which can be used in association with the classrooms. And in front of that is that balcony that I was talking about, that you can actually, set up seats all the way around and watch a performance from below, or you could do Romeo and Juliet or whatever you wanted to. But again, there's real connectivity. It doesn't matter you're on the top floor, you're still part of the civic environment of the school. All the purple down there is all the science labs, so there's a number of science labs that are being refurbished elsewhere, which we'll go through, but basically here we've got all the science labs for this block and the staff study area, so we've got chemistry labs, general science labs and the like, but all of it is connected, so there's the ability for, the ability to come in and out from various areas. We've got balconies and all the rest of it. But also, if you've got kids that are actually, in a general classroom through there, have to go to science, they can do that internally and all undercover anyway. So these are all working models. Just for your information, we work in a program called Revit, and from day one, everything goes into 3 dimensions. So it's not like CAD. If anyone knows about CAD, CAD you draw plans, elevations, it's very mechanical. From day one, we can work in 3 dimensions. So these are working models as we've gone through, but give you a sense of the type of spaces and so forth. Those are the screens in there. So that's actually the design, which has become a perforated Corten screen. And there's elements of that. So you'll see this kind of colouring through there, and it's that kind of rustic steel colouring that we've used. We've then got a charcoal, and then we've got a very light colouring on panels above with that mirrored aluminium. Now the other thing, I don't know if you can pick it up here, we have a fantastic artist, which unfortunately Penny Falano, who was selected by our team, and the underside of the whole canopy is a mixture of some solid panels but also some reflective panels, as we were talking about. And Penny's work is this amazing 3-dimensional spine that runs all the way through it, and the whole the sort of idea behind it is a kaleidoscope. So when kids are in there or pet activity, you have this amazing interactive and always changing set of reflections that happen through that space. So that's really going to be quite amazing. So, just some cross sections again. You can see some of the shaping of that underside. So it's a very folded sort of element. It's not a flat area. Yeah, sorry, and you can see again there the connectivity all the way through. So you can connect all the way through, but most of it is that 2-storey volume running through there. Okay, these are very old and quick sketches. So you can see just some of these sketches that show different dimensions of the development, and this is looking at the back towards the school, and that's one of the existing buildings through there. So you can see here this very interesting thing that actually the ceiling heights on all the existing buildings were quite high, so you get quite a high building, but that really in the end, even though this is the full 2-storey building, it still fits, it nestles in with the rest of it. And again, all the trees and so on. So again, this is a sort of 3-dimensional view down there. Obviously it hasn't got the trees in place, but there's a balcony through there. You can see that element at the back. We've developed a breeze block that we're using as part of this, so it's located in 2 areas. And again, this is one of these elements that are coming back from Hamilton Hill. Should I stop here? Yeah, okay. So this is just a drawing of some of the other areas, which Will can take you through it. And this is where it gets complicated, but interesting.
Thanks, Liv. So basically, and it might be a little bit washed out, I apologise if you can't see it too clearly, but this is effectively the plan of the rest of the existing space. If we were to plot the new building on, it was basically sitting right in here. So Lefroy Road is down the bottom of the page. As you would have come in today from the car park, that's that path with the little square courtyard you walk up the stairs to the admin and around and through to we are currently sitting in here. So all of the light blue reproduce is quite significant, so it's been quite a challenge. But effectively, the existing science block at the front here becomes a new arts block because we've got all the new science facilities in the new build. The existing student services and a textiles classroom here get relocated up into this block at the rear, and this becomes a new commercial kitchen, which I think runs a Cert 2, type Cert 2 for commercial cooking, with its own integrated restaurant, so the kids can learn how to cook in a commercial kitchen environment and also do hospitality, wait staffing, etc. And we'll go into these in more detail in the following slide, so I won't sort of dwell on them too much. In the existing canteen, which is right behind you there, we're completely gutting it. It's currently in a sort of prep area with a single kiosk servery. So we've turned that on its head, and we're basically bringing an in-out servery, internal canteen space, or cafe space basically, with servery and a space for the kids to sit. And then in the back behind us, these and change facilities get converted into storage for the school. The new computer labs, dedicated computer labs, we've got a CAD drafting lab, we've got a flexible iPad type e-lounge lab, and then we've got an old school computer lab. So again, giving the school maximum flexibility to how they want to run their IT classes. As I touched on, this is the new student services block. This is maritime studies. It's an important aspect of the existing curriculum, which has been brought forward and given a dedicated space in the school now. Textile studio, and then at the back, and probably the most significant amount of work that we're doing is a complete amount of gutting and overhaul of the D&T facilities, which haven't been touched since the 60s. So that's kind of in a nutshell what's happening, but I think more importantly, all of the stuff in between is what this drawing is trying to show, and that's all of this represents the courtyard space, the beautiful landscaping that's on the site currently that we're getting into and spending quite a lot of time and effort into bringing them up, making them beautiful spaces, bringing in pallet furniture, i.e. the Melbourne laneway type culture, or the Freo South Terrace culture, to be more contextual, I suppose. Doing things that the kids can kind of take and move and push and pull and set up however they want. A couple of fixed elements which can define the space, but then letting the kind of kids drive how they want to use those spaces. So we're basically getting into every single one of these courtyards and just trying to make them a little bit fresher and a little bit better. So these drawings were prepared, again, similar to the early stuff at the end of design development. The building, the contracts are about to be awarded in 2 weeks, so there's a whole lot of technical drawings, but I didn't think that they would be suitable to bring to this because it's a lot of notes and details and stuff that you don't need to see as such. So they are hand-drawn, but they haven't really changed a lot, they've just been developed. Effectively in the admin, as you come up the steps and into that entry space, anyone who's been in there now knows that it's quite a perky little kind of entry corridor with a lot of little spaces off the side. So what we've effectively done is, that's the existing shell, we're knocking down everything inside it to the kind of exterior shell of the building, and starting from fresh. We're going to create an open plan reception space. And we're going to build off the back with another sort of open plan reception space, which is divided by the existing walls. So we have a student sort of more private, or if you get in trouble and you've got to go see the principal entry for the kids, and then the money. Principal's offices and vice principal's boardroom facilities and registrar, and then actually quite a decent sized proper boardroom for the school now at the moment. They don't have. They've got a facility in the staff room, but we're trying to bring it all into the admin and give them what would be expected of a kind of contemporary school for an admin centre. Significant open office plan space, and then some sort of support staff, and a decent sized kind of T-prep reprographics area as well. So in all, what we've done is effectively add 120 square metres to the back, squeezed in between the library, but we've given us the opportunity to create a very open plan contemporary admin building for them, which Jerry and Donna were very pleased with, I can say. The science block, which is, when all of you came in, you would have come in through this way and up there to get here today. There's the admin building there. Science block becomes arts. So what we've effectively taken is the northern wing, of the arts block. Again, we're gutting everything that's inside there, so it'll be an open plan shell, exposing it back to the structure, and then we're creating a printmaking studio, a drawing and painting studio, a ceramics studio with an attached kiln and wet store space, and then a seminar room for art history and the like. But importantly, what we've done with these is use these significantly large acoustic bifold doors, so that when they're not using it as a seminar space, these doors can be opened up and you get one ginormous art studio space to do whatever the hell you want. So all the floors we polish concrete, even in the seminar space. You can use it in any way you want. Impromptu gallery, whatever you want to do in there. Again, just giving the school teachers and students the opportunity to do whatever they want with these spaces. And then on the north, currently this is the Autism Centre, Health Centre and another science lab. This becomes your digital media lab, so there's a film and TV studio where they can actually learn how to, with a green wall and facilities to do film and for mock news broadcasts, etc. Planning space for that, so they can plan out their work, and then planning space to plan it out, and then an actual kind of lab space to start prepping all that stuff. So really, they're getting quite cutting-edge facilities, and as far as arts and digital media is concerned. Then we moved to the other side of the admin. Again, that's the admin room there, through the walkway into the food block, and this is that commercial kitchen I was telling you about. So they end up with 8 serious gas electric combo high-end commercial grade cookers with full prep area around the side. There's a prep bench at the rear. This thing's ridiculous. It's even got a pivoted mirror and TV screen, so that, like on MasterChef, so the kids can watch the teacher prepping at the prep bench and see what they're doing. So, with a prep kitchen and also facilities for coffee machine, etc. So they can actually learn all of the hospitality trades that they would learn at a sort of Cert 2 TAFE course, with their own change facilities, and then the restaurant. Importantly, what we've done with the restaurant is we're actually knocking out all of the walls in between the brick piers, and we're going to glaze those so that you've got the visual connection to the courtyard, as well as the physical connection through the doors. But then this becomes an alfresco dining precinct. So again, it's really bringing the idea of what a dining or a food and hospitality experience is into that courtyard space. And then currently the school's got a little sort of knock-up dominant type thing, which is the breakfast club, where the kids get in the mornings and do breakfast. Every time I heard it, I had that bloody song in my head. But again, we're sort of getting in and tweaking that up a little bit, cleaning it up, painting it, putting some signage. And there's some images of what we sort of foresee as the kind of pop signage that we're going to use throughout this later, which we can show. But the space we're in now, so we're in the hall presently. That's the kind of cafeteria that we spoke about. And again, it's not on this slide, but importantly, you would have seen as you come through, there's a significant sized grass courtyard space out there, which we're spending quite a lot of effort into making into another outdoor dining precinct. But this whole cafeteria will open up onto that space. The kids can come in, sit down, drop their bags, order, come out, and do whatever they want to do. But it's a lot more functional than what's currently a 2-roller door servery, sort of old school kiosk. This is that humanities block and textile, so there's a new textile studio that's being built. Student services, so as Liv mentioned, although at the end of the day it's up to the school how they want to run it, we always sort of foresaw that the new building had a little bit more of a in-school feel, especially to the student services, and then we had a sort of junior middle school student services that was incorporated in the back of the school. Again, there's a kind of nice underused courtyard at the moment, which can provide private entry for the kids, so they can sort of sneak in without being seen if they're feeling vulnerable. And then there's all of the sort of student services functions that are needed for that space. And then the maritime studies, which is basically, this plan, when we did this plan, it wasn't maritime studies, but we've managed to get that into the project new budget, so it's more a science lab type space. But importantly, it's got a direct relationship. Just on the other side of this courtyard is the metalwork in the DNT, and they use that space a bit as well for what they do in that engineering. And then the pool, which is further up down next to the hall at the back there. So now this is bringing this right into the heart of where these people actually need to be and sort of operate. And then this is DNT. Now it's split on 2 because it's such a long wing, but that's the IT labs that we were talking about. This becomes a purpose-built mechatronics studio. Again, the planning has changed internally a little bit, but it's effectively half computers for planning stuff and then half soldering bays for jewelry making and robotics. Just some storage space, and then we've got a large new woodwork space and another one here, either side of a central machine room. And the important thing about that is it's glazed with double glazing, so that if the staff are in here cutting wood or doing it, they can actually see what all the kids are getting up to at any given time, and it makes it feel like an integral part of that space rather than tucked off the back somewhere. And then the one that's just on the end there, that's actually going to be a plastic studio, so they're learning to work with plastic and composite engineering. And then which is that in there again, and then just a half-decent staff studies for those guys now. Currently they're in a little quirky little corridor, so we've opened it up for them. And we're refurbishing the pre-walk classroom as well. So that's kind of everything that we're doing in a very kind of quick kind of glance in terms of the refurb. you don't even want to get me started about how we're staging this, but as Liv touched on, it's being set up so that the kids are going to have as minimal disruption and the teachers are going to have as minimal disruption as we can offer them by effectively building, parcels of work in separate stages, handing it over, decanting stuff into another building for a temporary period of time, so that the school still operates with 100% functionality, 100% curricula on offer. They're not losing anything, they don't have to shut down classes or programs, and we don't have to ship the kids off site to the school to Hamilton or whatever to take up classes that they can't have on offer any longer because we're basically shutting down the school and building in through all of these spaces. But over the 2-year build period, there's actually 5 separable packages of work, one of them being the new build, and then 3 of them being sort of staging of the work in and around the courtyards, and then the last one which is just upgrading the fire ring main around the site. So it's hopefully going to go pretty smoothly. I'm confident. And so one thing I did mention was we're refurbishing all the toilets as well. So they'll all be upgraded to very current and modern standards. So that's the sort of project there. The last one we've got, and I won't bring Liv back up again because they have beautiful hand-drawn sketches, but these just start to talk about these spaces that we're creating and what we're trying to do with them.
Look, they haven't reproduced particularly well, but yeah, very quick sketches. Which one's this one? Okay, so this is the main courtyard in the middle, and you're looking sort of from admin kind of here and looking back that way. So you've got the canteen, the cafe, canteen down the back through there. This has developed a lot since then, but we've actually, as part of this, keeping all the trees, keeping the lawn, but actually adding in 2 areas, one down there and one up here somewhere, that are like timber platforms, not timber, but they look like timber platforms and seating areas, so that they can either be used for kids to, sit up, with seats built into it, they can sit on the top of them, they can have a band playing on top. One of them's big enough to be a little stage, so you could actually do music or, music stuff at lunchtime or whatever, or, the whole soapbox thing. You can do a fashion runway thing, whatever. But really, they're just those 2 elements and actually just giving some structure to the courtyard itself. Can you hear me even though I'm sort of here? Okay. And then also we're introducing, as part of the loose furniture and all the rest of it, bringing out bean bags, all that sort of stuff that we all have gotten used to in, little theatres and outdoor theatres and cinemas and all the rest of it. And really, in the end, there's this ability for kids to group however they want to, or they can all sit in a big row having lunch, or they can do whatever. And in fact, some of those 2 areas that I was just talking about would work perfectly as an outdoor classroom as well. So there's no reason why, a little group of students can't come out here with their teachers on a beautiful day and actually run a lesson in there. So this is one of the things we really wanted to create. So it's a very rough thing. This one here is the arts courtyard. So so basically we're going to be introducing a couple more mature trees in some of these courtyards that are a little bit hot at the moment. We're trying to keep any area of planting that's actually really quite beautiful. It's one of the things that does happen here is there's some beautiful rose gardens, there's some beautiful, trees and so forth. So we're building up on the things that are just really thriving and doing well, and then removing things that are struggling and introducing maybe a few things in different areas. And again, on all of these, you can see all these sort of circles and so forth that we've got on there. That's going to end up being part of the signage. So as you come through the school, basically we've got this very kind of evident and sort of pop type signage where, wayfinding through the school is improved. Because one of the things that's very difficult, if you don't know where you're going, where you're at. So all those sorts of things. So this one here is the view of the cafe courtyard. So you can see in the background, again, the opportunity here of, we will set up a garden through there. We'll set up some initial planting that might be sort of hardy perennial herbs and so forth. But there's absolutely no reason why. I know there's some fruit gardens already established in the school around in one of the other courtyards. No reason why that can't be nurtured to be even more of a food garden at the end of the day. So there's this element through there, and then you can see back there, you know, it is a kind of laneway culture type of thing, you know. In the end, rather than buying thousands of seats that are, you know, very expensive and all the rest of it, there's something quite nice about actually setting it up in a way that I guess all of us and also the young people have gotten used to being a little bit more impromptu. And what you're doing is you're creating culture, not just providing furniture. And I think that's a very important part of what we're trying to do. So this one here is of the Breakfast Club courtyard. So really what we're doing is slapping paint around and putting some of these bits of furniture back in there, which might be crates, might be whatever, beanbags, whatever it is. So really it's all this kind of very, you know, fresh and transient. I mean, one of the things that's kind of important about this, and certainly from an architectural point of view, is I really believe in creating non-sacred walls sometimes, you know, that they can actually be repainted by the kids. So there's a whole bunch of elements in here that will be very evidently places that actually can be regenerated over the years through artworks and so forth. So Student Services courtyard, again, very soft. There's a bunch of pillars out the back there that haven't got anything on them, so we're building a big deck over the top of them now, so it's a really big table, same sort of thing. And sort of in some areas with the new entries, so they're quite evident. We're tidying up all the little amphitheatre through there, picking all the good trees, and just tidying it up so you can actually use it and so forth. Okay, so these, so the one on the left is actually a tiny little alleyway that's just, you know, the size of a postage stamp around the corner. But what it does is actually one of the, you know, one of the ways you can get to the new building. This diagram basically shows, again, these are precious spaces, you know. In the end, at the moment, it's just got brick paving, you know, 2 walls and a gate at the end. There's no reason why that can't change and become a real sort of, what do you call it, a little courtyard alleyway, little pocket courtyard and so forth. The other one there is, amongst all of these as well, just to say that one of the things that will be done with the schools, and it was alluded to right at the beginning, is really with the schools going through and just saving those things which are important to move and locate in the new build, and that's something that will need to happen and you know, over the next year or two. One of them is a little area which is sort of a residual area that runs between a whole lot of buildings at the moment, and it's quite beautiful. It's got some trees, but it's really not looked after. What we've done with the school, and it was a lovely idea that actually came from the schools, is to actually turn that in what we're calling a peace garden. And that peace garden is a quiet place. You know, you can get to it very easily and it's open, but it's also quiet and slightly screened. And it's an opportunity where we can bring plaques, we can bring memories, you know, of people that have been here, you know, that have had important legacies to schools and so forth. So it's actually an outdoor space where there's a way of actually remembering people that have been in the schools in the past can come back and so forth. And there'll be places inside various buildings as well, that obviously administration, but one of the things we will do is try and save as much as we can from the schools and actually use them to hang on the walls and so on. Is that it? Sorry if it's taken a bit long, but I think we all thought it was a great opportunity just to tell you as much as possible. Just the final one actually, Peter Newman's here, which is great. One of the things that we have done is the building has been designed to be, number one, passively designed to be of really high calibre from a sustainability point of view. Will might want to talk a little bit about some of the other elements in there, but we're very cognizant of the amazing achievements of Fremantle College in terms of being carbon neutral. Obviously there's some air conditioning that's being, you know, put in here, which we need to deal with. But I might just quickly finish off with, if you wanted to just have a quick word about that, because that's been integral from day one from our project.
Yeah, so thanks, Luke. I was going to prompt you on that as well, so I remember too. So, yeah, the school itself has been designed to achieve just 2 points shy of what would be a 5-star Green Star rating, which is a tool that the professional industry uses to gauge their green credentials of a project. That's national leading. That's about as good as you can get in Australia. The next level being a 6-star is international best practice. So we've got a very high sort of green rating on the new building itself in terms of the work we're doing, high insulated of walls, as Luke mentioned, the actual orientation of the building, passive ventilation and lighting, and waterless urinals. There's a lot of technical stuff which I don't really need to kind of go into, but it's achieved quite a high rating. And additionally, we met with the school and with Peter Newman, who, if you don't know, Professor Peter Newman, so runs the Curtin unit, amongst many other things, the sustainability professor at Curtin University, runs the doctorate school, and I'm sorry if I'm getting your sort of exact credentials mixed up here, but we met with him and his team of PhD staff to basically work through, what we were proposing to do with the school, if they could come up with any suggestions to kind of make it a little bit better, and we met together and amalgamated those two things. So we've actually done some things in the refurb of the existing school where we're improving those with high-level glass ventilated louvers to night purge and do a lot of stuff. So on the whole, we've JCY very, very much has sustainable design at its heart, and so we're very happy to have an opportunity to take it to the next level. But I think on the whole, we've sort of taken the very good start the school's got with carbon neutral, tried to make it a little bit better, and I hope that the end product is a great success in that regard. So, thanks.
Thank you very much, and it's wonderful to hear architects talk about architecture and about design in schools, and we don't smack kids around the head anymore. We don't do that anymore, but it is wonderful to think that they've brought so much into the building design so that the students and teachers can have the flexibility to be able to use inside and outside spaces so seamlessly. And just sitting down, I hadn't actually gone through this either, and so this is the first time for me. And to see all of the wonderful, innovative things and the fantastic infrastructure for design and build into the future is wonderful. The green room, or the green screen, I think you called it, with the digital technology area, the plastics and design area, the IT and the ICT, and the technological spaces, the marine spaces. It's just, I think there's so much that they've captured that we can seriously build on and be very, very proud of building a school that will provide what it needs to provide into the future. So I found that very exciting, and I hope that you did as well. I was remiss in missing out the fact that this presentation has been filmed, and none of you have been captured in the filming, but we thought that it would be a wonderful opportunity to capture the presentation and to put it online so that you then can view it again and share it with the rest of the community. When they ask you questions, you can tell them where to go to have a look. We have we're in working towards the development of the transition of the two schools coming together, and it is the Peace Garden aspect is a fantastic opportunity to salvage and to bring in to the new build the remnants and the historical pieces and the tradition and some of the cultural impact and artefacts from both schools. So that's a wonderful, wonderful thing. To generate more of those ideas and to capture some of the essence of what needs to be brought forward, we have a transition team on actually in place at the moment, led by Mr. Neil Wilson, and we have a representative from both Hamilton Senior High School and South Fremantle Senior High School in Rachel Granger and Julie Duffy. Thank you. They are the transition staff members at both sites, and so the three of them will be working intensively with the two principals, Donna McDonald and Jerry Hardy, to ensure that they capture and engage as much discussion, input, community input, student input, so that we can transition with equal weighting and equal buy-in from both of the schools. So that winds up our presentation for the architectural features of the new college. And we have a couple of roving mics, so in the closing moments of the presentation, if there's any questions or things that, ideas, concepts, questions, queries that you have that you would like to ask of the design brief that you've seen tonight, or about the transitional approaches that the schools will be taking into over the next 12 months or so, please feel free to indicate.